Hey Credit Warriors, Credit Shifu here, and we have a personal finance video for you today. Now, I was looking around YouTube the other day and I noticed Graham Stefan uploaded a video, my 5 best financial decisions, so his 5 best financial decisions. And I thought it's a pretty interesting idea to talk about what are the best financial decisions you can make, okay? So I have compiled a list of the 10, what I view as the 10 best financial decisions. These are not necessarily my best financial decisions, although I have made some of these decisions, but I feel that these are probably the 10 best financial decisions that you can make. And in no particular order. And also just remember, this is just sharing information. This isn't financial advice that you should definitely go and do, but just getting the conversation started. And if you think these are correct, or if you think there are others that I have missed, please leave a comment in the comments below. So first of all, let's get started with number 1, pay down debts first. Okay, so if you're thinking about investing or developing yourself financially, one of the first things that you should do is you should start by paying down your debts before you do any investing, etc. Now, if you are accumulating debt on, say, a credit card at 20% APR, even if you put money in the stock market and you're earning, say, an average of 7%, even if you're earning 10%, that 20% APR on your credit card, if the amount of money is similar, is going to completely cancel out any of the gains you're making in the stock market. Okay, so you need to start by paying off your debts first, your high interest debts, or at least transferring them onto, say, a 0% APR balance transfer card, and have a solid plan to pay that debt off within a set period of time. Have that plan in action before you start actually investing. Debts like mortgages, car loans, etc., those are kind of what you call good debt, all right? At least that's how it's viewed by the credit bureaus. So it's not so, it's not like if you want to invest, you need to pay down your mortgage first. No, you could still invest while you're, paying your mortgage. Even, my mortgage is at like 4% or something, right? If you're investing, you're getting 7%, well, you might as well just keep the mortgage because you're paying less interest on the mortgage, a lower percentage. Anyway, so at the rates we have, there's really no rush to pay off mortgages and things like that. But high interest debt, if you're thinking about investing, pay it off first. Number 2, make a budget. Okay, now making a budget for your monthly expenses is really one of the best things you could do, and you wouldn't believe how many people don't actually do this. And even myself included from time to time, maybe I made a budget several years ago, but then my finances have changed and I'm not in the same situation anymore. And sometimes I kind of forget to do this, but it is really a very, very important thing, because if you make a budget, okay, you know how much money you're spending on your base expenses, okay, so like rent, utility bills, etc., or mortgage if you own your own home, utility bills, all those kind of things, and then food on top of that. And then you know how much leftover money that you're going to have each month, and that's going to let you know basically how much you can spend in sort of discretionary spending so that you don't overspend and get into debt. But also how much money you can save as well. If you're thinking of investing, etc., you'll be able to know how much money to save. And then because you've budgeted, you'll also be able to see exactly what you're spending, and you'll be able to cut out waste. So you'll be able to cancel that subscription for that streaming service that you don't watch anymore, right? I subscribed to CBS All Access for Star Trek Discovery. Turned out to be a terrible show, okay? So I canceled it. And so yeah, eliminating waste spending is one of the best things that you can do. My budget, it works out about $5,000 for like, mortgage payment, 2 kids in childcare, food. We spend $1,000 a month on food. It's crazy, all right? So, but it's great that I budget it so that I can see, where I've got waste, and if there are any things that I can cancel. Normally they end up being quite small things, but I do have room to actually cancel some things, and I know how much money I can spend and save on top of that. Now, number 3 in our list, and this is, we're still in sort of the region of preparing to invest, okay? And that is to create an emergency fund, all right? So now you've got your budget, you're able to know how much you need in your emergency fund. So your emergency fund, I recommend between 3 and 6 months of your monthly expenses, okay? Now don't confuse that with between 3 and 6 months of your monthly salary. It doesn't have to be that much, but at least your base expenses, for example, rent, all utility bills, and your food bills, okay? So for me, I need about $5,000 a month for all that stuff, okay? It sounds high, but whatever. We're earning quite a lot more money now, so it's about $5,000 a month. So I would need between $15,000 and $30,000 for between 3 and 6 months worth of expenses, okay? Which I have, so that's an emergency fund. Now, don't think though that might sound high, right? But don't forget, I've got 2 kids who are both in daycare. I've got a mortgage, etc. If you are single or you're a couple, you don't have kids yet, you're living in a smaller place, maybe your rent or your mortgage is like $1,500 a month. Maybe you don't have any childcare expenses, so it's really just that. Utilities, maybe food, all right? Let's say your expenses are $2,500 a month. If you times that by 3 for 3 months, that's only $7,500, okay? So, and that is quite doable, all right? For most people, you should be able to save that up in maybe 6 months to a year, and you'll have your emergency fund there. And you just leave that aside, put it in a high interest savings account, and then you are ready for our next step. Number 4, invest a percentage of everything you earn. Now, Tony Robbins talks in his book about if a extra tax was placed on you, say 5%, 10%, you wouldn't like it, okay? But it's a tax placed on you by the government, you have to pay it, all right? And you'd find a way of paying it. Now, you can use this technique to just sort of pretend that there's an extra tax placed on you, and you can invest that percentage of your income. Let's say start with 5%, then 10%, etc. Now, when you invest like this, consistently investing a percentage of your income over time, it can have a really big effect. Okay, so for example, if you're investing 20% of your income, and let's say you're earning $5,000 a month after tax, that would be $1,000. Okay, $1,000 per month. You invest that for 20 years, every month, consistently at a 7% return, which is quite a modest return in the stock market. You would end up with about 575,000 US dollars. Okay, and as time goes on, you would get even more money. It would increase exponentially, which is why number 5 on our list is start investing early. So in the example we just gave, investing $1,000 a month at 7%, if you invested for 20 years, it would be 575,000. 30 years, just 10 more years, and it would be 1.3 million, okay? So just 50% more time actually gets you a 100% increase in the amount of money. And if you invested that for 40 years, $1,000 a month at 7% every month, you would have $2.7 million after 40 years. So if you started at 18, 28, 38, 48, 58, time of 58, $1,000 a month, you would have almost $3 million. Number 6, only go to college if it makes financial sense. Now, there are some, YouTubers out there or just some people on social media, finance gurus, who really plug the idea that college is a scam, okay? Now, I don't want to say that it's totally a scam. For example, people really appreciate the work that doctors do, right? Saving people's lives. Well, guess what? You're only going to become a doctor if you go to college and get a medical degree, okay? It's not the sort of thing you can teach yourself. But there are a lot of, businesses and things that you really can teach yourself, okay? So if you're going into an industry where a college degree isn't required, it's really going to give you a head start financially not to go to college and to avoid all of that debt, okay? I have a friend who, he did music composition masters at college. He ended up in $1,000 worth of debt, and he doesn't even work in that industry. He does something completely different, okay? And that's also another thing to remember, is that some industries are really, really hard to get into. The likelihood that you're going to make it as, say, a music composer, for example, is very, 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 very low, okay? You're more likely to come out of that degree and just start doing a white-collar job, which, may require a degree, but certainly not a master's, all right? I myself avoided a huge amount of debt by deciding not to do my master's. I was going to do my master's at Columbia School of Journalism. I got in, I paid a $1,000 deposit as well, but at the end of the day, at crunch time, when it was time to commit to doing it, I decided I'm not going to do it. I already had a bachelor's, and even that kind of was overkill. But I'm still glad I did that, because I learned a lot. It was very valuable to me intellectually, and I didn't have too much debt from it because it's in the UK. It's a bit cheaper than in the US. But yeah, if I had graduated from Columbia School of Journalism, I basically would have been a wage slave afterwards, because I would have had so much debt hanging around my neck. I would have been forced to just get a job as quickly as possible, start paying back that debt. It would have been a terrible decision. So I'm very glad that I didn't do that. And there are a lot of jobs that you can do without going to college, but just with alternative styles of education, okay? And that brings me to my next point. Invest in alternative education. So anyone who talks about, finance on YouTube, there are certain books that we all talk about, okay? Rich Dad, Poor Dad is one of them, one of the classic books. The Intelligent Investor is another one. I'll put that there because I don't have the book. I borrowed it and I've already given it back, but I have read it. Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game. That's also quite a good book. There are also a lot of books on Warren Buffett. This one was written by his son's wife, or actually his son's ex-wife, but someone with a good understanding of his trading, his investing practices. Sorry, not trading. He's a value investor. His investing practices. So you can really invest. There's a lot of alternative education out there, and they're not going to teach you this in high school. Okay, absolutely not. They don't teach this in school. They don't want you to be financially literate. They want you to get into debt and pay money to the big corporations. So invest in alternative education. It's really a great idea, a great tool. And there's a lot of courses out there by people online. You don't have to go for education in financial stuff, even at a school. If you go on Teachable, there's a lot of different courses. Obviously, you have to be careful and choose the person you're learning from wisely. Look at their credentials, look at how well they've done personally. Tai Lopez is a really bad example of this. He's really just a marketer. If you look at his courses, a lot of the time, it's hard to replicate the results because you're not in the same situation as him. And he makes his courses overpriced and a lot more, they look a lot more valuable than they really are. But there are many very good educators out there. For example, I went to Meet Kevin's one-day seminar on real estate investing, spent $200 on it. It was money well spent in my view. I learned a huge amount about investing in real estate, which is what I'm going to start doing within the next couple of years as my, a secondary stream of income. So do consider investing in yourself, investing in education. And I just mentioned a secondary stream of income because that is our next point. Create multiple income streams. Now, you may wonder why we sell wallets and we promote credit card affiliate links and sometimes other apps, etc., in addition to just having ads on YouTube, okay? That is because we need multiple income streams in case one income stream fails. So if YouTube failed us, like it did back in early 2017, I believe it was, we were making $25 a day off of Credit Shifu, and it went down to $5 a day. Something called the adpocalypse happened, okay? A load of advertisers pulled out and ad rates went way down. So we have decided to develop multiple income streams so that if one fails, we have another one. Now this is more doable when you've got a business, okay? You start one line of things and you expand into other products. You have multiple lines, multiple things earning you money, but you can do it as a W-2 salaried employee, like we talked about, investing a percentage of everything you earn. That is a secondary income stream because that will generate dividends, okay? Either growth or dividends or both. And that's a secondary income stream to your job. And as you get older and you have been investing for a long time, if you followed the other tips, start investing early, okay? You see how all these things come together. As you get older, that income stream is going to become very, very significant. And in the future, it may even become larger than your primary income stream, which would be your job. So creating multiple income streams, something very important. Number 9, learn about leverage and scalability, okay? These are two very important concepts in money. Now, when we're talking about leverage, people might think of, stock market trading using margin. That is a form of leverage, certainly. That can be risky, okay? Jeremy from Financial Education has a video all about how he made mistakes investing using margin and really lost a lot of money. However, some people use margin effectively. Like, for example, if you look at videos by Warrior Trading, he's a day trader. He trades with margin, but he has safeguards in place to, stop huge losses, stop loss orders, etc. So he does it effectively, okay? He uses margin effectively. That's one form of leverage. Another form of leverage could be leverage ETFs. But then when we're talking about real estate investing, there is sort of a safer form of leverage, a interesting concept in real estate investing, and that is when you borrow money. So let's say, for example, you put down $50,000, okay, which is 20%, to buy a $250,000 house, which you're then going to rent out, okay? Once you've rented out, the renters living in the house are paying the mortgage and all the expenses associated with it, as long as you've done the calculations correctly and bought a house that is good value. And then let's say that property goes up in value by 10%, okay? So basically you add 10% in value, which is going to be $25,000, all right? But you only put in $50,000. So that $25,000 is a 50% increase on the amount of money that you put in. It's only 10% on the overall price of the property, but for the amount of money you invested, it's 50%. And so you've leveraged your money. And that's a really important concept, and an important concept how, people, when you start investing, you think, well, I haven't got that much money. How am I going to make these huge amounts of money? Well, leverage. Certain types of leverage are safer than others, though. The real estate example would definitely be safer than using margin in the stock market, although it really depends on your level of ability and your level of knowledge. So all these things are things that you have to go and do further research into. Don't just take my advice. And then secondly, let's talk about scalability. Okay, so scalability, this is really going to apply to people who are doing businesses, and we can use YouTube as an example here. You know, the YouTube channel we've created, Credit Shifu, plus our other YouTube channels, Generation Tech, Generation Films. As we build subscribers, we scale the business, okay, because we're moving out to larger and larger audiences, because over time we just end up accumulating subscribers. However, the amount of work it takes to produce the videos is basically the same, okay? If I produce a Credit Shifu video and I've got 20,000 subscribers versus now when I've got 100,000 subscribers, it's the exact same amount of effort. However, the video reaches much more people and earns a lot more money. And then another aspect of scalability is that once you have, extra money flowing in, you can then hire employees and you can get video editors, and then you can create twice the number of videos with only the same amount of effort, because you don't have to edit the videos yourself, okay? You can write double the number of scripts, for example, okay? So that's leverage and scalability. Very important things to know about if you want to be financially literate. And lastly, number 10, do something good with the money you make. Now, this isn't a financial secret to make you money. This is actually a financial secret to give you peace of mind and give you a feeling of satisfaction that only comes from helping other people. So Tony Robbins has a great quote that he mentioned in an interview once. I think it was on Fox. He said, having a lot of money means that if you are a good person, you can do more good with that money. And if you are a bad person, you can do more bad with that money. So it just amplifies. So I hope that you are going to be the former. Be a good person, and if you have a lot of money, it means that you can do more good, okay? Whether that is taking care of your family well, putting your kids through college, or if you have even more, maybe you can donate money to charity, to the arts, or do passion projects yourselves. Maybe you don't like donating money to a specific charity, but you can do some sort of project that you are passionate about, that inspires people, that helps people who are in need, etc. It gives you a sense of satisfaction that is much greater than buying a new Lamborghini that's only really going to benefit you, okay? Trust me on this. All right, guys, so those are 10 financial, what were we calling this? 10 financial secrets? Maybe not secrets. 10 amazing financial decisions, I think, that you can make. Maybe they're secrets, I don't know. Please leave a message below, leave a comment below. Tell me if you think these are correct, or if you think that actually there are others that I haven't mentioned. Join the conversation. I'd really love to hear what you think. Please subscribe if you're new for more finance and credit card related tips and tricks almost every day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.